I lost my family after kicking out my homeless pregnant sister. Here's what happened. So, I am a 37 years old male. And I have a sister who is 30. She's my parents' golden child. Growing up, she was extremely spoiled and blamed everyone else for her bad decisions. Recently, she has found herself homeless because instead of facing her husband, when he found out she'd been having an affair with a married co-worker who might be the baby's father, she ghosted him and showed up at my door, 500 kilometers away. My wife, who is 36 years old, was against the idea at first because there's bad blood between them. She announced her engagement at our wedding. However, she changed her mind after my mom, brothers, and sister begged her. I told her to block them, and I'd pay for a hotel for my sister because I know she's trouble and she'd cry on the phone to my mom the minute we did something she didn't like. My wife told my sister that if she put one foot out of line, she'd be gone. Things were okay for a few days, but then my sister started screaming and ordering our kids 4, female, 6, male, and 7, male around. She even went so far as to kick them out of the sitting room so she could lay on the sofa and watch TV. She doesn't clean up after herself, demands me to be her personal chef/driver, and even takes food off our plates. My wife just walks out to the back garden and smokes a cigarette, which she recently started doing again. It all came to a head last week when my wife drove my sister for her scan. She said that instead of me cooking, she'd get the kids McDonald's for a one-off treat. A few hours later, my wife returned, shaking with rage. Obviously, my kids were confused at this stage. My sister walked in with tears in her eyes, trying to make a beeline for the stairs. My wife said, "No, you come back. Look those kids in the eyes and tell them what you did. Don't even try with the crocodile tears to tell them," my sister said in tears. The smell of the food put my cravings into overdrive, and while I was at the petrol station, I tasted the food. My wife then went crazy and said that when she came out, she saw my sister digging into their food and mocked the situation. I told my wife and sister to calm down because the kids were crying. I suggested that my wife, the kids, and I go out to a restaurant to get food. I turned to my sister and told her I was disappointed in her and that she should apologize to my wife and kids. She told me my wife was stressing her out and expected trouble, then went up to her room. We turned off our phones, had a nice meal, and the mood was better until we turned on our phones to Facebook posts, voicemails, and texts that weren't nice. My wife burst out crying, saying she can't take her anymore and she's sick of my family, that it's either them or her. So obviously I chose her. When we got home, my sister smugly came down the stairs. She clearly noticed my wife had just been crying and asked her if she had anything to say to her. My wife told her to get the hell out of our house. As predicted, my sister started crying, making excuses and blaming everything but herself. I told her I didn't want to hear it, that I was calling her a taxi, and she left. My family went nuts, then blocked us on everything and disowned my kids. So guys, tell me what I should do from here.